Steps in conducting scientific research. So what is a scientific research? It is a study that follows systematic approach and they acquire new information. This information is added to the existing knowledge base. So the scientific research or a scientific method ensure that the work is well thought out and it is organized. And a step-by-step pattern is followed. All the data are recorded and it can be easily shared. We will go through this in detail. Before that, please remember to subscribe this channel. Thank you. Scientific research. The research is required to be objective, systematic and testable. So, first one is a scientific research is required to be objective. What is objective? If the study is based on observable and verifiable fact and if it is unbiased, then it is objective. For example, if several persons are conducting a same study using the same method, then everyone should arrive at the same result. So this property is known as objectivity. For example, if you and your friend measure the length of a table using the same measuring device, then what happens? Both of you would arrive at the same conclusion about its length. So that is objective. And second comes systematic. The scientific research should be systematic. It means it involves certain steps or procedures in the investigation. It involves the following steps: conceptualization of a problem, collection of data, drawing conclusion, and revising research conclusion and theory. All these things we will go in detail in the coming slides. Then the third point is testable. The scientific research should be testable. It must be designed as such the question in the research can be tested. They can be proven either true or false. If the questions are not testable, it will be impossible to provide an answer to that question. So, the scientific research must be objective, systematic, and testable. Now we can go through the steps in scientific research. First one is conceptualization of a problem. Second is collection of data. Third is drawing conclusions. And fourth one is revising research conclusions and theory. Each of these steps we can discuss in detail. Conceptualization of a problem. This is the first step. Here we need to select a theme or topic for the research. Then we narrow down the topic. Then we develop a research question. And the fourth is we develop a hypothesis. We will see this with an example. Consider the topic for our research is to know the internet addiction behavior among the teenagers. So that is our topic. To know the internet addiction behavior among teenagers. Then what we need to do? We need to narrow down the topic. Then it will be to know if social media involvement affect their studies. The broad topic was to know the internet addiction behavior and we narrow down that topic into the social media involvement. Does it affect their studies? So that we will get more focus on the problem. Then what? We develop a research question. The research question will be like, is there any difference in academic performance with social media usage? That will be our research question. That is there any difference in academic performance with social media usage? And we need to develop a hypothesis. The hypothesis will be in teenagers, there will be a statistically significant downfall in academic performance with social media usage. That is, we assume something. By developing a hypothesis, we assume that in teenagers, there will be a poor academic performance with social media usage. This hypothesis can be true or false. We are studying to prove this hypothesis. So we can go to the next step. Collection of data. This is the second step. It includes participants in the study, methods of data collection, tools to be used in research, and procedure for data collection. So the data collection requires developing a research design or a blueprint of the entire study. And we need to decide on 4 of these things: participants, methods of data collection, tools to be used, and the procedure for data collection. For example, the participants we can choose. In our example, we have used teenagers. So the participants are teenagers, and the gender. Gender can be either we can choose boys or girls, or a mixed group we can use. So we decide on the participants. Then method of data collection. It can be observation method, experimental method, correlational method, or case study. That is, we can observe, we can conduct studies, we can do experiments, then we can study the relation between variables, and we can do specific study of person or event. So several methods we can use in data collection. Then comes the tools to be used in research. It can be interview schedule, questionnaire, survey, etc. In our case, we can use questionnaires, or we can interview the family members, teachers, etc. Then the procedure for data collection. How the tools need to be administered to collect data. That is, we can focus on individuals, or we can collect data in groups. Usually, interviews are done in a one-on-one basis, but the experiments are usually done on a group. And these things are followed by the actual data collection. Drawing conclusion. It includes analysis of data, graphical representation of data, verifying hypotheses, and draw conclusion. So we have collected data. Now we need to analyze that. Analyzing is necessary because it is needed to understand what the collected data means. So we analyze the collected data. Then we will give a graphical representation of the data using bar diagrams, pie chart, histogram, then using mean, median, mode, and standard deviation, etc. Then the hypothesis is verified with the data that we analyzed. In our case, what was our hypothesis? That teenagers will have a poor academic performance if they are using social media. Or with the social media usage, the academic performance of the teenagers will be poor. So this hypothesis is then verified with the data we have collected. That is, we analyze the data to verify the hypothesis. The fourth step is revising research conclusions and theory. So first we have selected a topic, then collected data, then analyzed the data, and we reached a conclusion. Then now we are going to revise it. We need to check whether the conclusions support the hypothesis. The research begins with the hypothesis. Now the researcher see whether the conclusion support the hypothesis or not. If the conclusion support the hypothesis, then it is confirmed. If it doesn't support, then it is not confirmed and the researcher need to revise or need to make an alternative hypothesis. Then we need to collect data again, need to test it again, and the same process continues. If the conclusion match our hypothesis, then our hypothesis theory is correct. That is, in our example, the hypothesis we developed was, in teenagers, the academic performance will be poor with social media usage. We need to check whether our conclusion matches our hypothesis or not. If it matches, it is confirmed, and if it doesn't match, then we need to change our hypothesis and we need to conduct the study once again. So, research is actually a continuous process. While revising, new hypothesis is made and it is tested by collecting new data. So, this is a continuous process. Let's have a quick recap. We have learned the steps involved in scientific research. They were conceptualization of a problem, collection of data, drawing conclusions, and revising research conclusions and theory. So first we identified a problem. Then after studying the gathered information, we made a hypothesis. Then to test the correctness of the hypothesis, we conducted experiments. If the result agree with the hypothesis, then we can continue further and draw up a conclusion. If it doesn't support the hypothesis, then what happens? We need to change the hypothesis. And after drawing up the conclusion, we can communicate our conclusion and the result to other people in the scientific world. So this is all about the steps involved in scientific research. Hope you like this video. Please share it with your friends. Thank you and keep smiling.